So most people know AI agents are going to be the most influential invention of our lifetime. It's incredibly important to prepare yourself so you don't lose your job to them. But here's the thing. If you position yourself correctly with a team of AI agents, you will be 10 times more powerful than you are today. Billion-dollar companies will be founded by one-person teams and a team of AI agents. So why do I say all of this? In this video, I created an agent to handle all of my admin tasks instead of hiring a real person. Zapier Agents is the perfect introduction to building agents yourself. I'm a non-technical person, and on this YouTube channel, I cover how non-techies like me can stay ahead of the AI adoption. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Zapier Agents so you can begin building a team for yourself and stay in the top 1% of early AI adopters. All right, let's dive into it. All right, so let's go ahead and first of all, come inside of our Zapier account. So if you don't have an account already, make sure to sign up. There's a link in the description. However, instead of coming over to Zaps, which if you're familiar with this platform, you may have used Zaps to automate your workflows. This is a bit different than that. So we're actually going to go over to the left-hand side and come over to agents. Agents are a completely new product that Zapier is actually working on in order to create autonomous agents that could do things for you with AI, obviously. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an example of a previous agent that I actually have created so you can understand exactly how these function and what how we could configure this for ourselves. So you can see I have a content research agent here. So this agent actually researches new AI news and comes up with content ideas for me. And so one thing I want to mention is this works autonomously. Every single day it does this on autopilot, comes up with ideas for me to create content on. And basically what I need to show you here is there are multiple little sections we need to focus on. So there are data sources. We could feed our AI agent any context that we want. Let's take a look at some of these different sources that we could upload. So we could upload a file, an Airtable, we could upload our CRM, we could upload Google Docs. I'm going to show you later in this video how I actually leverage this and utilize this inside of my admin agent that I'm going to be building here in a little bit. So the next thing we want to focus on is the behaviors. So this is the workflows that our agent will automate. And if you want to create a behavior, you come over here, click this plus button, but I'm going to show you right now how this works. So here we have it. We are prompted with this first thing right here, which is our trigger. So we could either have this on demand where we could just type with our AI agent and just ask a question, say, hey, come up with content ideas for me. Or we could schedule this or have it triggered from a certain application. So for example, if you were to get an email, then it starts and triggers this workflow. For this use case, what I would do is I would add a custom frequency. So I'd say every day at 8 p.m. So you could see in the instructions, let me go through this. Every day at 8 p.m. or when triggered on demand, research some new developments in the AI space. Craft a list of potential good videos based on the trending news for me to cover on my YouTube channel. Some good examples include, and I gave some kind of examples, good topics to cover. And then you could see I actually added this action. So after that, then send a channel Slack message. And I'm going to show you exactly how you could add these. So you could either find data, which is the data sources that we use. So we could kind of give it access to this information, or we could have this actually create actions for us. You could see we chose the Slack channel message, or we could generate a email draft reply. All these different things. There are so many different actions we could have our agent perform. But what I want to focus on here is Zapier Agents. The thing that is really cool about it is we just type out what we're trying to build in natural language and it will build the workflow for our AI agent automatically. And now that you understand how this works, I'm going to go through and actually build my AI admin assistant so you can see exactly how you could do that for yourself. What we want to do is we want to come over to agents, click on new agent, and I'm going to call this Brock's admin agent. And let's just say agent that handles all admin tasks such as reviewing emails, adding email labels, scheduling meetings, responding to Slack messages, etc. So that's kind of a basic description of what it is we're actually going to be building. So I'm going to click start from scratch. And next up, you will see this chat. This is one way that we could interact with our AI agent. Like I said, if you want to interact with it on demand. Next up, we need to come to configure, and we then want to add a data source. So what I did, since this is going to be our admin assistant that could respond to emails and Slack messages, I think it's really important that I need to then try to copy my writing style over email or Slack. So what I did is I went ahead and added a Google document into my Google Docs, basically copied a bunch of different responses to emails that I've sent. So that way we have context of how I respond to people. So what we do is we come over here and we just need to log and connect our data source. So Brock's messaging style guide, I'm going to add that as our data source. And then next up, what we need to do is we need to then create a behavior. So let's come over to behavior. And this is where we'll begin describing to our agent how we want it to interact. First of all, let's call this behavior. Let's just call this email workflow. And then the trigger for this is going to be when a new email is added to our inbox. So all we need to do is connect our email account here. Obviously, we're using Gmail. And then for anything that hits my mailbox, if you have any labels or something, you could customize that as well. And now we just need to type in natural language how we want this to perform. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. All right, so here's what I typed out. So when there's an email, step one, we want to analyze the email. We need to identify the type of email based on its content. And here are the possible types of kind of emails that I could get. So potential brand sponsorships or collaborations, meeting coordination, general inquiry, sales or spam, no response needed. I already added this, internal communication, follow-up request, new opportunity, other. You kind of get the gist. So these are the type of emails I may receive. So I need to tell our agent to analyze and identify what type of inquiry this is. So then I could have it perform certain actions for each of these different types of emails. And notice, I just write this out in natural language as if I'm like teaching an employee how to handle these tasks, which is pretty cool. Okay, next up, here are my steps. So determine whether the email warrants a response. If it doesn't, or if it's sales or spam, do not draft a response. So obviously self-explanatory. If it's a sales email and it's just spam, I don't need to draft a response. So the AI already knows that. If it falls under potential brand deal, sponsorship, or collaboration, then add an interested brands label in Gmail. So I have a certain section in my Gmail that is certain label for potential companies that want to work with me. And that way I don't have to sort through my email and just like, this makes my email inbox so much less kind of cluttered. So this is going to save me so much time and just like help me out in so many different ways. So it'll automatically label that kind of opportunity as an interested brand in Gmail. And then another one, if it falls under potential client or consulting, then label it potential client or consulting. So again, that's another label. So then I could have all of that accessible in one kind of part of my email inbox. One thing I do want to mention, if you want access to the prompts I use to build this agent, there is a link in the description to sign up to my resources and you'll get kind of a full document with all of these. So you could copy and paste these if you're trying to replicate the same agent. All right, so I went ahead and added this instruction here. So number 2, we need to draft a response in email. So if a response is warranted, which the AI will actually be able to identify that, like is this worthy of a response? If it's not, it won't even go to step 2. So if it is warranted, then draft a reply in Gmail in the style of Brock, referencing the style guide available. This is that data source that we linked it with, and I'm going to show you how to link it actually directly to our agent in this kind of instruction here. Find data as necessary using available sources and actions, including finding available openings for meeting times if applicable. So this could actually schedule meetings for us as well. And then look at the previous messages from the sender to see if any previous context applies to the conversation and add it in the draft email if helpful. So essentially, if there's any context in an email thread with somebody that we need our AI agent to have information on or context on, it automatically will go through and search through those to see if there's any relevant information to utilize in our workflow. And then this is the big part. If the email qualifies for a draft to be created, then create the draft reply. So essentially, this will draft replies for us. And then all we need to do is go into our email drafts and see all these messages that our AI is ready to send a response to, confirm them, make sure they're good to go, make a tiny little change if we need to, and then send them off. This will save me so much time with, actually not having to draft responses. And remember, it uses my context style guide, so it knows how I like to communicate. So there we go. Okay, so next up is where we need to actually add our data sources and our actions. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So make sure to pay attention here. So data sources, what we're going to do is we're going to click /, and then you could see this like gives us different commands we could have, like we could give to our agent. So we need to find data, and you could see this data source is linked. So Brock's messaging style guide. And so now that I have this linked, it will reference this whenever I say, respond in the style of Brock or whatever the case may be. Next up, we need to add our actions. This is the most important part, obviously. And how we add our actions is we come here, click take action, and you could see all these different applications that we could actually create actions on with our AI agent. So I'm going to click on Gmail, and this is going to basically be create draft reply. So all we need to do is connect our Gmail account, which I already have done here, but make sure you add this. For all of this information here, just leave this blank and let your AI generate a value for this field, because it'll be able to identify who it's responding to and what the email needs to include. So let's save that. And then let me go ahead and add a bit more of these actions here. Okay, so here are the other actions I added for this specific email workflow. So I added a create label because obviously we needed to create different labels. I added Google Calendar add event, Google Calendar find event, and then add a label to email. There we go. So this is all good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and save this, and we could actually go ahead and test this behavior. All right, so as you could see here, or I don't know if you can see, I just sent myself a fake email asking if I offer AI services. So what I need to do now is I'm gonna test this behavior and see if it's able to identify this. So what you will see when you test a behavior is you will actually see it going through the whole process. So you could see trigger new Gmail. So it's now pulling some information from my Gmail account. All right. And it looks like now it's on to the next step. It understood that this is a potential client or consulting inquiry, and it actually went ahead and created a label, just like I said. So potential client or consulting. Next up, I just need to approve this. That looks great because it was able to identify that. Let me go ahead and look at the content of the email. So, hey there, I love your YouTube channel and have some questions regarding an AI project. Are you taking on any new clients? So the AI was able to identify that's a potential new client in my inbox. So it then flags that in my Gmail account. So it looks like it actually created that label now. And now it's actually checking the message style guide that we linked right here in order to craft an appropriate response. Guys, this is so cool. This is going to save me so much time. Okay, so now it's actually trying to find different responses that I've had based on client inquiries and business communications via my Brock's messaging style guide. That's pretty interesting. Okay, amazing. So it actually now created a draft response to this potential client inquiry. So here is what it actually generated. So, hi there. Thank you for reaching out for your kind words about my YouTube channel. I'm thrilled to hear that you're interested in AI services and have a project in mind. Yes, I currently am taking on projects for AI related projects, or yes, I am currently taking on clients for AI related projects. I'd love to learn more about your project and how I might be able to assist. Could you share a bit more about your goals and what you're looking for in terms of support? If it's helpful, you can also schedule a time to discuss this further. Let me know your availability and I'll do my best to accommodate. So since we have the action of being able to create events, we could even have our AI agent coordinate the event and schedule it and add it to our Google Calendar. Guys, this is really, really cool. Okay, so for the sake of this video, I don't want to actually go into my email because there's some sensitive information there, but I actually went and checked and there is a new draft added into my mailbox. So all I need to do is go through my drafts now and approve all these different messages to be sent out via my AI agent. We could even have it automatically send, but I like being able to test and make sure everything's good to go before it sends. So there we have it. Let's now move on to the Slack part of this AI agent. Okay, last thing before I actually move on to the Slack part of this, I just need to go ahead and enable this behavior. So now whenever a new email comes in, this will automatically work properly. So what I need to do is I'm still inside of Brock's admin agent, understand that, but what I need to do is I just need to create a new behavior. So we'll have a different behavior for each of these different tasks we'd like to perform. That's how these agents function. So obviously we have the email workflow that we created. We just need to create a new behavior, but this is going to be simply for the Slack workflow and automation we're trying to build. So let's go ahead and title this Slack agent. I'm going to call this Slack workflow. Okay, and we need to start writing in our instructions here. So when there's a new mention of my username in Slack, first we need to analyze the mention. So determine the type of message based on its content, assess whether the mention warrants a response or a reaction to acknowledge it. So basically same thing as in the email workflow. And then also we need to add a new trigger. So this is going to be Slack. And then I'm going to call this, it's going to be whenever I'm mentioned inside of my Slack channel. So there we go. When a new mention occurs, then this will be triggered. Step number 2 here, we need to review the content or the thread context if applicable. So same thing like with emails, we need to review the context of the conversation we're having with the person. So if it's in a thread inside of Slack, it'll then understand kind of everything we talked about. So it has context before responding. So if the mention is part of a thread, fetch and analyze the preceding messages in the thread for context, and then incorporate relevant details if necessary from the thread into your response draft. Okay, and then now on to step 3. We need to notify Brock via Slack bot. So post a message in the Slack chat or Slack bot channel with a summary of the mention. And then I added some examples. So you were mentioned in channel name, about quick summary. We also need to add a clickable link to the original message, and then a short draft reply using, and then I added the data source Brock's messaging style guide, so it has context of how to respond, or a Slack to react with reasoning for it for easy review. So there we go. Next up, I'm telling it to feel free to use Google Calendar for meeting or event context, any project management tools if applicable, and then thread context for prior messages when available, just like I said. And then next up, we need to add our actions here, so then this could actually perform these tasks. All right, so here are all the actions we're going to be using for the Slack workflow inside of our agent. So we're going to be using send a direct message via Slack, Slack retrieve thread messages, and then Slack find message, and then also the ability to find an event in Google Calendar, and then also create an event in Google Calendar. So again, make sure to link up all of your actions here to your specific profiles for each of these platforms. And then next, we just need to add our data sources, and then this workflow should be good to go. So basically find data, add this there. This makes it really easy for our agent to understand, like, the actions and the data sources that has access to. So let's save that. Now I need to go ahead and send myself a fake Slack message and make sure this is all working properly. All right, there we have it, guys. We actually created an AI agent that could handle all of my administrative tasks, and it was really simple to do using Zapier agents. So if you guys want more content like this, where I go over specific use cases for Zapier agents and building an agent for yourself, make sure to comment what you would like to see me build in the comments below. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, sign up with Zapier agents below. That being said, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.